This simple hack will help you create dozens of unique, believable walk cycle animations in minutes instead of hours or maybe even days. By the end of this training, you'll be able to create animations like this. Now, before we start, here's the key to creating an amazing walk cycle. It's all about personality. Adding personality to your walk cycle is very important for adding realism and believability into your characters and their animations. So why is that? Well, the way your character walks communicates a lot about the character themselves. Things like their current emotion state or their current physical state. Are they injured? Are they sad? Are they angry? Are they upset? If you've never created a walk cycle before, trying to create something that's oozing with personality can be a bit daunting, which is why I'm going to share with you a quick hack on how you can make a bunch of different variations of walk cycles very quickly. Note, while this tutorial is suitable for both beginners and experienced animators, having a little bit of experience in both 3D animation tools as well as animation itself can give you a much better and more polished animation. In order to create all of these walk cycles, we're going to use a tool called GenMotion. GenMotion is a tool that allows animators to generate a variety of animations using simple text prompts. It has been trained using thousands of motion capture animations created specifically and exclusively for GenMotion. If you don't have an account already, you can go over to GenMotion.ai and sign up for an account. Now, once you get access to the account, you're going to see a screen like this. This is where we're going to generate all of our animations. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to create a text prompt for what our character is going to be doing and how it's going to walk. You can add descriptive words to really give your walk cycle some emotion and some personality. Taking a look at these drop downs, you can get some ideas of what kind of stuff is available and words that you can use, some actions, some movements, all that kind of stuff. We're going to start with something like a scared person walking slowly. Scared person walking slowly. If you click the little button over here that says add, you can add additional prompts to make longer like chain animations. We're not going to do this for the tutorial today, but we are going to go into generation settings and you can generate up to 4 clips. So we're going to do that just to give ourselves more variety and find the stuff that we like. Now that we've got that, a person walking slowly, duration 9 seconds, you can adjust that as well. We're going to click on generate. Now it's going to take a little bit of time, not too long, but now it's going to go through and generate our animation using all that motion capture data that was created specifically for GenMotion. All right, so now our 4 animations have been generated. You can see a little preview here of the different animations. So we can cycle through these and then just press play. And you can see the animation. We've already got a walk cycle. So now you can take a look at the different variations that have been created and see which one suits your character the most or what you're trying to go for. All right, this person looks a little bit more frightened. That might be something that we want to go with. So now that we've got our animation generated, it's time to export this animation so that we can import it into Unreal. We do that by clicking on the little download button here. It also provides multiple different formats that you can download, but the thing that we're going to be looking for specifically is FBX. So let's download that. Now I've got a test scene here that we want to use to create our animation. So first thing that we're going to do is we are going to import a model. If you don't have one already, you can import it at this stage. We have a model already that we're going to use. So we are going to use this robot right here. Now what we want to do is we're going to import the animation that we just downloaded. I'm going to open up my content drawer, go into our downloads folder. We're going to find that animation we just exported. and we will drag it right into the content drawer. You could just use the default settings for this. So we will import. So now if we take a look at this, this is the new animation we just imported. So we can open it up and preview it. So now what we want to do, if we want to sync that animation with a character, we've got to create a IK rig that we will use to control and sync animations. Open up your content drawer, and we are going to create a rig. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go right click, and I'm going to go to animation, and then retargeting, and IK rig. We'll name this something that makes sense to you. So let's name this IK rig tutorial test. All right. We're going to open up our new rig. We're going to go to preview skeletal, and we are going to select the mesh that we had just imported. We've got our mesh as well as the skeleton for our mesh that we had imported. And what we're going to do first is set the root. Just realized that when I was initially recording this, part of the screen was cut off. So I just wanted to show this screen again, just so you can see where I'm selecting the bones here. So this is the target root. These are the legs, the right leg, the spine, the head, left arm, right arm, etc. So I just select the proper bones and then do the right click and new target chain. Okay, back to the video. So typically speaking, I usually use like the pelvis or hip bone in order to set the root. You may have to play around with this depending on the models that you're trying to sync up with. So I'm going to set that as my target root. And then I'm going to go ahead and create chains that we're going to use for our animations. So first thing is we'll start with this spine. We'll select all of the spine bones, and we're going to right click, new retarget chain. Everything looks good there. So we'll add chain. We'll do the same with the neck. The neck will be a separate chain. So right click, add new target chain, add chain, and the head. New retarget chain, head. Now you can make this a little bit faster by selecting multiple chains. We got this one for the right left leg, this one for the right leg. Then we've got the collar, shoulder, elbow, wrist. Collar, shoulder, elbow, wrist. And if we right click and click on new retarget chain, it's actually going to kind of make this a little bit easier. So we got the left chain, and just take a look at the starting and end bone. That looks good. Now it's going to cycle through and kind of do it all for us. All right. So now we've got our retargeting chains. We're going to save that. Now what we're going to do is going to open up our content drawer again, and we're going to create an IK rig. And now we'll basically do the same thing with the new model that you want to retarget the animation to. So we'll come over here, we'll select the skeletal mesh for that robot. We're going to hit F so that we can see it better. And then we will do the same process. We will save that. And now we will create a new retargeter. So to do that, we're going to go back to our content drawer. We're going to go to animation, retargeting, IK Retargeter. I call it IK Retargeter. Did I spell that right? No, I didn't. Targeter, and then tutorial test. So now we got our source IK rig. So we're going to go ahead and find the one that we just created, IK rig tutorial test. So there's our source. And then for our target, we're going to find the new one that we just created for the actual robot. And for a preview, we can just offset this if we want, just to make things easier to view. If you take a look at the animation that you just imported, it should work. All right, we've got our new walk cycle. Now you may have noticed that as we watch the video, when it hits the end of the walk cycle, just like you just saw, it's not actually looped. It's not a seamless loop, which is not going to work for us whether we're doing, a cinematic animation or using this for video games. So we're going to need to go back and make a few adjustments in order to kind of polish this up and just make sure that it is a seamless loop that we can use in our games and our animation projects. So in order to do that, first we're going to go and save everything, make sure we have everything saved. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our main scene and create an actual seamless loop of this animation. So let's go back in here. If you haven't already, you can drop your robot or your actor, into the scene. We're going to create a new level sequence. We're just going to call this, it doesn't really matter because you don't really need this long term. It's just something to fix this process. So we're going to call this walk cycle fix. Okay, so now we've got our new animation cycle called walk cycle fix. We're going to drag our robot into the sequence and we're going to add our animation. Now, if the animation's not showing up, there is a fix for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the retargeter and you can see that it's working perfectly fine right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this animation, make sure it's highlighted. We're going to go export selected animations and find a place to export this to. So let's go to where we store our original actor. That's where I'm going to export this. Now, be sure to keep it organized the way that your project is organized. You can create a new animation folder if you'd like, which might be easier, especially if you're dealing with a lot of different animations. But for now, all we're going to do is we're going to export this. So we'll hit export. All right. So now we've got our new creeping walking animation. So let's go back to our scene. And now we should be able to select it from here. You may need to extend the timeline playback loop so that you can capture the whole animation. We're going to be adjusting that back and forth. If your video isn't looping, you can go over here and just click on this button to turn back looping. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to extend this out again, and we're going to copy and paste the same animation. All right, so we'll copy this, go to the end of this animation. We're going to paste a second copy of it. Now it is going to show up on a different line on your sequence. So we're just going to drag it up so it's on the same line. All right, so we're going to right click on the animation. We're going to go match with this bone in previous clip, and we're going to select rake. Now we're going to drag this back to try to create a seamless transition between the first animation and the second animation. It may take a little bit of playing around just to make sure. You can see it's stuttered a little bit. So you may have to move it around a little bit to try to find that sweet spot. Okay, so that looks pretty fluid. Now, if we adjust our playback, you're going to notice it still doesn't loop properly. That's because the end frame here does not match the starting frame over here. How we can fix this, now that we've created a seamless loop between the start and end between two clips, is we're going to offset the animation just so that one of the frames, our starting frame here, is identical to the ending frame over here. Now, the easiest way to do this, kind of a ballpark way to do this, is find and count out some frames. So let's say we go, so this is the starting point of this clip. So we want to go at least the end of this one. So let's say this is 220 to 285, which is about 65 frames. So let's offset this by 65 frames. So we're going to drag using the top bar here, because if you drag this one, it's just going to drag that animation clip. We want to grab the whole thing. So we're going to drag this back by 65 frames. Okay, we will shorten our timeline by that amount. And now, if we watch this, okay, so it's not quite right. So we may need to fiddle around with a little bit, but you kind of get the idea of like, if you can match a frame here with a frame that's over here, that's going to kind of create that cycle. Actually, I know why it's not working. Okay, so I did miss a step. So the next step is to like and subscribe. No, that's not the next step. The next step is to come over here and pick the frame that we had selected previously. So we said 65. We have to do a little bit of math here. So if this is frame 156, 155, so that'd be like what? 220. There we go. So now this frame matches over here. So now if you watch the animation, it's a seamless walk cycle. So now that we've got a seamless walk cycle, the last step in this process is to go and export this as an animation sequence that you can use and you can retarget to other models or any of that kind of stuff. So how we do that is we're going to right click on our actor here. We're going to go big animation sequence. Again, we'll find a place. This is going to be your actual animation cycle. So this is where the naming conventions actually make a little bit more sense. So we're going to find our robot here. Again, if you have an animation folder, you can drop it in there. You can change your animation name. So we could say robot mid, slow, careful walk. Click OK, and then export to animation sequence. And there we go. Now, if you open up your content drawer, navigate to that folder we saved it to, we now have a robot slow, creeping, careful animation cycle. And that's it. You're done. We've now created a new walk cycle in just a matter of minutes. And again, you can export a whole bunch of different varieties of walk cycles in order to create your own animations. If you'd like to take this a step further, you can go in and kind of make some tweaks and changes if there are some slight differences that you want to make to the animation. In order to do that, what you could do is, now that we have our animation cycle open, so say we want him to be hunched over a little bit, what we could do is we can pick a bone. So in this example, I want to have him hunched over. I want the spine one. I'll add a keyframe, and then we'll move him down a little bit, but we need his head up. So let's select his head, position his head up a little bit more. Maybe his neck too, I'm not sure. There we go. Creeping around a little bit more. You can go ahead and tweak this to your liking. So you can also set up new keyframes so that maybe we want his head moving back and forth and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of go around, play with it, polish it up, and then you have your walk cycle. And that's how easy it is to create a variety of walk cycle animations for your characters, for your animation or your video game projects. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them down below in the comment section. And you can also join our Discord, where you can connect with myself and other animators and ask your questions if you have anything that you want to know about on how to create these types of animation cycles. You can also show off your work. I would love to see it. Again, if you like this video, Be sure to click the like button, hit the subscribe button so you get more tutorials on how to do animation in Unreal and other engines in the future. And be sure to check out one of these videos. I'm sure it's probably going to be to your liking. YouTube knows what they're talking about when they recommend these things, so check them out.